What do you say, everybody? And welcome to the Bama Insider YouTube channel. It's time for Recruiting with Andrew Bone. And before we talk about the latest in Alabama recruiting, let me remind you guys to like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up as you hang out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, and hit the bell so you know when we go live. Kyle went live with a show on Monday morning, and you would have known that by hitting the bell, because when he went live to take your calls and talk about everything Alabama after Sunday's championship performance by Jalen Hurts and by Smitty and by Landon Dickerson, you would have seen all of that, and you would have been able to know that that show was live. So make sure that you hit the bell. Always good to see you, my friend. How you been, Mr. Bone?
I've been good. My wife went out of town this weekend, so we were it was just me and my son all weekend long. So we had a good time. We
watched a lot of football together
and tried. He's he doesn't pay too much attention to football right now. Still trying to get him zoned in on that. But if it's not Coco Melon or Sing 2 or something like that, it's hard to get him focused on anything else.
Yeah, right.
It's either you're playing with all the toys running around, or going on walks, or it's watching some cartoons that I don't know what those people were on when they made them, but I guess they were on some good stuff. But
you'd have to be on some good stuff to make those. We always say you're going to have kids. You're like, oh, they're not taking the TV over, and then you have them, and you're like, okay, if this guy will just watch something and leave me alone for a minute, he can watch all the Coco or whatever show that you, Barney the Dinosaur, Number Blocks, whatever it is, watch it and stay out of my way. Well, not juniors as in little guys like Bone Jr., but juniors as in juniors in high school had their second recruiting day at Alabama. The top guys were in attendance, and I'm sure there's a lot of news and notes to talk about. Anything worth noting on the junior day for Alabama recruiting?
Yeah, I think anytime you can get kids on campus to at least meet with the coaching staff, at least half of the coaching staff. You meet with Coach Saban, you get a chance to see the campus, get educated a little bit, about the program, what they have to offer, and also you kind of get an idea of kind of where you stand on the recruiting board. Are you a top target? Are you a kid that's just now getting an offer from Alabama, and the recruiting process is just now kind of starting for you? You get a chance to meet with players, and get a chance to meet with counselors and stuff like that. So, it's kind of a win-win for everybody, because you're really starting to develop those relationships, but you're also getting kids on campus because you're interested in those players. You want to see them in person. You want them to visit as much as possible, especially the guys that you are recruiting, that you are heavily pursuing, including some guys that have been recruited for a very long time. Some guys that were on campus this past weekend have had offers, some for more than a year, including Daniel Calhoun, who's an offensive lineman out of Centennial High School over in Georgia, one of the top offensive linemen in the country in 2024. And he's taken a lot of visits to Alabama. I would be shocked if Alabama's not in that top 2, top 3 for him right now. And he's, not really putting out a huge list of or a small list of favorites just yet. It's kind of a wide range of favorites, but Alabama certainly on the short list for Daniel Calhoun. It's still a little early for me to throw in a prediction, but I do think Alabama's got a great chance to land his commitment. Another guy that was on campus is another offensive lineman from Georgia, but he's in the 2025 class, and he's visited just about as much as Daniel Calhoun has, and that's Big Mason Short out of Evans, Georgia, 6'7", over 300 pounds, has been a top target for a while. I think he's been to campus just about every single weekend that Daniel Calhoun has been there. So they've already built a pretty good connection with each other, but also several of the Alabama teammates. Now we have some quotes from Daniel Calhoun about his visit. We'll have something with Basin Short as well on the site. But those are definitely two guys that we're watching closely. There was two defensive backs that were on campus, and there was a big group of kids. We're just highlighting some of the top guys right now. But Corian Gibson, defensive back out of Lancaster High School over in Texas, was on campus this weekend. He is rated as a safety, but Alabama actually likes him more as a cornerback. I spent a lot of time with Travaris Robinson, Alabama's cornerbacks coach, spent some time with Coach Saban. This was his first visit to Alabama. We know that Alabama has recruited the state of Texas really well over the last several years. Got some big ones out of the Lone Star State in last year's recruiting class, and now they're going after, obviously some big time defensive backs, and Corian Gibson certainly, one of those guys. I think Alabama's starting to move up his list, and then Xavier Brown out of Mater Dei High School, same high school that produced Bryce Young. Xavier Brown made another trip to Tuscaloosa. Now, he had been to Alabama in the past, so this was kind of nothing new for him. But Alabama was very high on Xavier Brown. I think he's one of the top overall players at his position. Certainly one of those guys that they're going to continue to heavily pursue over the next several months. And then one other guy I'll mention that hasn't really been getting a lot of attention. I think he might just barely be a 3-star, but we're starting to see his offer list really start to increase, and that's Cameron Beavers out of Mississippi. He's a guy that is 6'4", about 330 pounds, had a great junior season, and we've got his highlights up at Bama Insider. Just an incredible defensive prospect that, for some reason, in the state of Mississippi, guys just kind of emerge a little later. Now, this is still kind of early in the process, but it seems like every single year the Mississippi kids are kind of found a little bit later on. This is a guy that is barely, like I said, barely a 3-star, but I could easily see, potentially ranking in the top 100 one day. He's on the short list of defensive line targets for Alabama. Early on in this process, he received an offer from Coach Saban about a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Came in to Tuscaloosa for the visit, and really high on Alabama early on in his recruitment. So those are some of the bigger names that were on campus this past weekend. Obviously, a lot of other guys, and we have updates on several of those guys on Bama Insider right now. So certainly encourage you to go check those out, find out who else is on that short list of early Alabama targets. Especially go check out the insider report that we have posted on BamaInsider.com today.
Love having you guys here hanging out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Make sure that you like and subscribe, hit the bell to be part of any time we go live with a show. Hit the thumbs up too to say roll tide, and message board. Appreciate you guys. And don't forget, now's a great time to follow Andrew Bone on a daily basis, minute-to-minute basis. And that's BamaInsider.com. Now that we're part of On3, $29.99 from now until August 31st. So you can't beat that. We're changing the face of team coverage sites, and we want you guys to be part of it. $9.99 a month, or really good deal, $29.99 up until August 31st. So you get all those months of coverage with Bone and Joseph Hastings and Jimmy Stein and Clint Lamb on the message boards, all that stuff at BamaInsider.com. And you just can't beat it. And when new offers come, Bone, that's what I'm going to ask you about next. You guys, you don't have to wait until Tuesday to find out who they are, but mention some guys that were offered. Tell us about some in-state guys, maybe a quarterback or two that Alabama's in the mix for. What's the latest on offers?
Yeah, so there were some new offers that were extended during Junior Day, but there was also some offers that happened outside of Junior Day. We saw some offers that got extended last week. In-state wise, Cameron Coleman out of Central High School in Phoenix City, one of the top wide receivers in the Southeast. Alabama had gone out, seen him play basketball about a week or two ago. They really are. very high on this in-state athlete. I think he's very explosive and, definitely has great size. I mean, you look at his size there, 6'3", 180 pounds right now. Definitely somebody that's going to be continuing to move up that recruiting board. UGA linebacker commitment, DeMarcus Reddick. Currently committed to Georgia, but is definitely somebody that Alabama has a lot of interest in. They want to bring him in for a visit. Hasn't visited Alabama just yet. We'll probably visit sometime in March, but definitely somebody who is continuing to take visits. He was in Auburn this past weekend, so at least he's as a Georgia commitment, still showing that he's interested in taking some more trips. So I would be shocked if he doesn't make it to Tuscaloosa at some point this spring. Malik Blockton, in-state defensive lineman out of Pike Road High School, just outside of Montgomery. He was offered last week as well. So these are definitely some guys that we're paying a lot closer attention to here lately. And then on Saturday, KJ Lacey, quarterback out of Saraland High School, had a great sophomore season, only a sophomore. And this is a kid who led Saraland to the Class 6A state championship. His wide receiver is Alabama wide receiver commitment, Ryan Williams, who just won Mr. Football in the state of Alabama 2 weeks ago. So they're going to, I'm sure they would love to continue that connection at the next level. But KJ Lacey received an offer on Saturday while he was at Florida State's Junior Day. So
how about that?
Yeah, how about that? He was in Tuscaloosa a couple weeks ago for Junior Day. Didn't receive an offer then, but I guess Alabama decided to take a little bit of time, evaluate him a little bit more, and then decided to offer. But one thing, about all these offers, and we saw Jaden Winston, Jameis Winston's younger brother, who's a 2026 recruit out of Hoover High School, was actually offered by the Crimson Tide on Monday morning. One thing to keep in mind about a lot of these offers that are getting extended right now, and we talk about this all the time. This is pretty much the start of a lot of these guys' recruitment. So there's a lot of evaluations that are still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff that's kind of going on behind the scenes. Alabama, still trying to bring in some coordinators. So those guys are going to, evaluate each and every single guy before you take a commitment from them. You look at the rising juniors, the rising sophomores that are being offered right now. Those guys still need to come to camp, still need to get evaluated, still need to build that relationship with the coaching staff and continue to develop over the course of the next year or two. Whereas a lot of these guys who are current juniors, they'll be seniors in the fall. They might be getting offered by Alabama right now. They still want to get seen a little bit more throughout the spring. Nick Saban, really likes to evaluate these guys in person. So if he hasn't seen you yet, if you weren't at camp last summer, if he hasn't stopped by your high school, which he stopped by a lot of high schools, that doesn't always indicate you can commit to Alabama just because Saban visited your high school. He's going to visit the high school, a lot of high schools throughout the year, but they still want to evaluate these guys. They want to make sure you're doing everything you can to improve yourself, not only as a player, but as a student athlete. They're evaluating your grades. They want, they're going to check your grades after this semester to kind of figure out where you are and make sure you're doing all the right things off the field. That way they can recruit you to come to Tuscaloosa and, be a player on the field for them. So it's still a lot of evaluations to go as far as on the field, off the field. But we are seeing a lot more offers, it seems, than kind of ever before as far as, early stages in their recruiting process. But Alabama's currently sitting at 5 commitments in their 2024 recruiting class. I don't think there's going to be a major change between now and, let's say, the spring. At least between now and May. I would think that there might be a couple more commitments, but I don't think it's going to get into the double digits just yet. I think Alabama still would like to be patient, would like to wait. Obviously, some guys out there that they would love to take commitments from early on in the process, but most of those guys are guys that are going to stretch it out, that are going to take their official visits throughout the summer and potentially into the fall. So I do think once we kind of get through the summer, once we get through June, once we get through July, kind of like last year and the year before, we start seeing a big flow of commitments. We might even get close to, 18, 19, 20 by the start of the season. But right now, they're at 5. I just don't see it growing, too much bigger between now and after the spring evaluation period.
Well, let me ask you about one of those guys, Justin Mbakwe. He took a visit to LSU. Some of these other guys, the 5 that you mentioned that are committed, that we've looked at on our pages as we've hung out with you, and you guys can do the same thing at BamaInsider.com. Is there any concern here, that guys that have committed to Alabama, like Mbakwe, who is important to this class, go somewhere else, or is this just part of the process?
I think it's part of the process. I think, a lot of these guys, especially Alabama commits, most of these Alabama commits, are not, are highly ranked kids. They're not, just these random commits that, had 2 or 3 offers before they made their decision. They were completely locked in. These are, big time top 100 guys that are going to receive a lot of attention. And, a lot of the attention over the course of the last, year has been on the 2023 recruiting class. Everybody's trying to, focus in and wrap up their recruiting classes. And, now that, we kind of got into January, most of these kids that are in 2023 signed during the December period. You're kind of going through, bowl season, you're going through transfer portal season, you're going through coaching changes season. There's just a lot that's going on, over the course of the last couple of months. Now these schools are completely focused on, recruiting the 2024 class. So these guys are starting to see a lot more attention, a lot more love. They're starting to see a lot of colleges stop by their high school. So, you know what? Why not go on a visit? Why not enjoy the process a little bit and, go out and see places that you haven't seen before? And Jalen Mbakwe took a unofficial visit to LSU this past weekend, but, there are other commitments who have visited elsewhere this month as well. Perry Thompson, took a visit to Auburn. He took a visit to Miami. Julian saying, one of the few that's not taking any visits at all. He's completely kind of shut things down, even though, offers continue to come his way. But, Sterling Dixon took a visit to Auburn this past weekend. He says that his commitment's very solid to Alabama, but, these guys are really just kind of enjoying the, the process in these visits. Now, Perry Thompson, a little bit different than everybody else because he's actually come out and said that he's 60% committed to Alabama. And I know we discussed this a little bit last week as far as, kind of his commitment status. But, in the end, I think these guys, are all pretty solid. One guy that I'm probably watching a little closer than the others is Martavius Collins. Martavius Collins is a tight end commitment out of Rome High School in Georgia. He has not visited Alabama in a while. And he took a visit to Auburn for their junior day a couple weeks ago. Didn't make it to Alabama this month. So that's somebody that we're, paying a little bit closer attention to see what happens with him, in his recruitment. But I feel like everyone else, Jalen Mbakwe, even though he took that visit to LSU, I think he's pretty solid. Sterling Dixon took that visit to Auburn. I think he's pretty solid. Perry Thompson says he's 60% committed. I think in the end, he ends up signing with Alabama. I'd be kind of surprised by that, but I also think it's going to be a challenge. It's other schools are continuing to heavily recruit him, and they're going to continue to do that. And he's open to taking visits. So you got to recruit all of these guys as if they're not committed. You can't just be lazy about it. Think you got somebody wrapped up. You got to treat them as top priority recruits all the way through signing day because other schools are doing that. And you don't want somebody –
got to show them the love, Bone.
Yeah, you don't want somebody else out recruiting you, even though you might be they might be committed to your program.
Hanging out with Andrew Bone here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. I'm Mick Gillespie, and I ask you guys, implore you to like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That's a great way of saying roll tide and hit the bell so you know when we're live. Anytime Alabama makes news, new coordinators, transfer portals, guys signed. We're going to have all that information for you immediately here. So you're going to want to hit that bell to know that something's going on that you want to be a part of. And BamaInsider.com right now, great time for you to join. Stay updated with everything that Andrew Bone and the rest of the crew are doing at On3 with recruiting at BamaInsider.com. And Bone, like $29.99 from now until August 31st is a deal. I mean, you can pay $9.99 a month if you just want to kind of dip your toe in the water, but it's a great service.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we continue to bring a lot of, great content to the site every single day. Joseph Hastings on the recruiting beat for us. He really does a tremendous job of, going out, seeing kids, and getting a lot of updates. So, if you're looking for a lot of updates from, the weekend, from junior day, we've got it on BamaInsider.com. Jump on the message board, hang out with us. I mean, we're on there every single day. I mean, fans are talking to us. We're creating a lot of content for just the message board. So we're having a lot of fun on there. You don't just have to wait, once a week for me on this show. You can join us every single day on Bama Insider. And, Clint Lamb, our team guy, is, just a unbelievable writer, but also creates a lot of great content pieces on there. Superlatives for this upcoming season, projected depth charts for next season. That's all been on Bama Insider over the course of the last week. So I encourage everyone to go check that out. And then I don't know if there's anybody that's better on the message boards than Jimmy Stein. It's always fun hanging out with Jimmy on there. He brings a wealth of Alabama football knowledge, and certainly does a great job of engaging with our subscribers on Bama Insider. But our whole team does it. I mean, we got a lot of people that work at Bama Insider, people that are behind the scenes. So really appreciate everyone who is involved with Bama Insider. So certainly go check us out because our main focus is to bring the absolute best football, basketball team coverage and recruiting coverage on the in the Alabama football world to Alabama fans. And we would love to have you on our site every day, not just on the show once a week.
Bone, signing day's coming up, right? We had the early signing period. And let me flash back up on the screen again. I mean, just, Bama's got this number one recruiting class, 93% blue chip players. Another great year. They did excellent in state. Is there anything to see on the official signing day, which used to be like the Super Bowl signing players, and now it feels like it's kind of de-emphasized because of the early signing period?
It's always funny whenever I look at that graphic because it says previous rank second. I don't think they've been second since last July. So that's been sitting up there as the previous rank for a long time. So once Alabama moved into that number one spot, they haven't relinquished it at all. They've been number one throughout the entire 2020, pretty much the entire 2023 recruiting cycle. And they're going to finish number one on Wednesday. There's nothing really to watch this week for Alabama fans. Alabama pretty much wrapped up its recruiting class during the early signing period. Obviously, we saw some transfer portal additions in C.J. Dupree and also Tresman Marshall. So getting a tight end and linebacker addition this month was obviously pretty big for the Tide, but nobody else to really watch. They're pretty much finished. They pretty much completely shifted all their focus to 2024. Transfer portal, it might be something that Alabama dives back into here in May. I think there's 2 weeks. I think it's May 1st through May the 15th where players can enter the transfer portal. So pretty much after spring practice is over, some guys are probably looking to see what their depth chart, where they are on the depth chart. Some guys are probably thinking, hey, I'm going to have a great opportunity to be a major contributor in Tuscaloosa. And you never know. Alabama may be like, they might get through spring practice and say, we need some help at this position. Can we find somebody in the portal and, might start looking for one. So right now, they're pretty much finished. So nothing else to really pay attention to this week. They've got, I guess, like I said, the number one recruiting class in the country. Not going to change at all. Even if a couple of these schools end up with, a 5-star commitment or two.
Hanging out with Andrew Bone here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. The Andrew Bones Show. And we do it, each week, update you guys on everything going on with Alabama recruiting and BamaInsider.com. Bone, as we roll on, I guess the big thing has been the final On3 Sports consensus player rankings, right? And some of Alabama's recruits this year and now signees, right? Downs and Keeley and Proctor end up 5 stars on every recruiting site. And it's not just ours. It's just not just On3. We look at them all.
Yeah, that's the thing I like about On3. As far as the rankings are concerned, I mean, you get a chance to, look at all the other ranking services, not just On3's consensus. You get to look at, 24/7's, Rivals, ESPN's, and, you kind of look at them side by side and you're thinking, man, they're all pretty similar as far as, there's not really much of a difference. Whereas, I saw somebody upset the other day because 24/7 had 9 5-stars compared to Alabama's 7 5-stars on On3. So I was like, it's not really that much of a difference because On3 does 32 5-star recruits, and I think if they expanded it a little bit, you got Justice Haynes, you have Jalen Hurts. Those guys are all ranked in the top 40 overall, according to the On3 consensus rankings. And Jalen Hurts, I think Justice Haynes, all kind of, they're very similar as far as their ranking. But, one side is the with the consensus has them 5-star, one's got them a 4. So not really much of a difference there. It's pretty much the exact same. It's just one site had more 5-stars, whereas one site didn't have more than 32 5-stars. So, that's pretty much the difference there. But, I think with Alabama, you should be really excited. I mean, you look at Keon Keeley, Caleb Downs, Caden Proctor, all 3 guys ranked 5-stars on every single website. So, that's pretty remarkable. And you see the plus there, the red plus means they're ranked 5-stars on all 3. Most of the guys who are ranked 5-stars are ranked 5-stars on, at least 3 out of the 4, maybe 2 out of the 4. But I think, overall, just an unbelievable class. I don't think there's really any, major differences as far as, the rankings for most of these guys. They're all pretty much similar. We saw a big move for Bray Hubbard in the final rankings. Moved up to 4 stars. But I mean, this is an unbelievable class. I mean, this is something that you got to be excited about. We remember back in 2017, the excitement that was coming out of that class. You can go back to 2008. So many classes that Alabama fans were really excited about. Felt like, this was going to, really boost Alabama moving forward. And, there were, obviously some people who were upset this year that Alabama didn't make it to the national championship. You don't have 2 coordinators. Everybody's saying, this school's now the top team. Alabama's fallen off, but then all of a sudden, Coach Saban signs his best recruiting class, in his tenure in Tuscaloosa, and there's a lot of excitement about this group. You look at some of the guys that are coming in and guys that can make a big contribution on the team next year. Not just 2 or 3 years down the road. You look at Malik Benson, coming in, junior college wide receiver, #1 junior college player in the country. Caleb Downs, I think he's a generational type player at the safety position. You look at the running backs, you look at the defensive backs overall, the linebackers, defensive line, offensive line. You really hit on a lot of key positions of need in this class. So what do you do in 2024? You already have the #1 recruiting class in 2024, but it's only 5 commitments, and it's very, very early. So that can quickly change. What are going to be some areas of need in this upcoming 2024 class? I think, you got to continue to recruit well on the offensive and defensive line. I think, especially on the offensive line, they had some misses there on the offensive front as far as guys they signed that, have now transferred elsewhere. They only signed 2 offensive linemen in 2022. They rebounded in 2023, but they got to continue to build on that offensive line unit. I think inside linebacker is certainly a top priority position for Alabama. I think tight end is certainly an area, where they want to continue to improve. And obviously defensive back, corner. They signed some great safeties this past in this cycle with Downs, Tony Mitchell, Bray Hubbard. Can you go after and get 2 or 3 elite corners in this 2024 class? You already have one in Jalen Mbakwe. Who else are you going to be able to go after and get?
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned a couple guys earlier, Corian Gibson, Xavier Brown, who were in Tuscaloosa this past weekend. There's one guy who's going to be making a decision this week, and that's Ellis Robinson. Has Alabama in his top 2, but really think that he's going to end up announcing for Georgia. Alabama's going to continue to recruit him. Still very, very early in the recruiting process for many of these guys, but and a lot of them are, even if you're committed or you're about to commit, a lot of these guys are still planning on taking visits throughout the year.
Fun stuff as we move forward, and we'll keep you abreast of everything going on with recruiting right here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. All right, well, let's change gears, Bone. Let's have a little fun. Last topic today is the Super Bowl. What a game it was yesterday. The last game, Kansas City, with a last-second field goal to beat Cincinnati. Some of the officiating felt a little bit like the Alabama-Tennessee game in there, but I didn't have a dog in the fight, and Patrick Mahomes won me my fantasy league. So, I'm not as heartbroken as I was about the third Saturday in October, but that extra third down play and the pass interference, the holding, defensive holding, and all that stuff. And then, next thing you know, Kansas City's in. And then Jalen Hurts and the Eagles destroyed the 49ers, who couldn't keep a quarterback healthy. And I thought that's interesting. First off, Smitty with a great catch in that game. And we're all pulling for Jalen Hurts. So they're going to the Super Bowl. First time since way back in the beginning of the Super Bowl that an Alabama quarterback is going to be there, right? Snake Stabler, was he the last Alabama quarterback, right? Bart Starr and Joe Willie and Snake. And now all of a sudden Jalen Hurts. So that's cool. And then D'Amico Ryans, who was the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, is probably going to be an NFL head coach really soon. And there's been a lot of reports. Hasn't had it'll happen. I mean, he's going to probably be at Houston.
Yeah, it's awesome to see those guys, get a chance to play in the Super Bowl. I mean, look at the guy behind, my right shoulder. I mean, he kind of a similar catch yesterday.
Devontae.
Yeah, so it's awesome to see those guys be able to make it. This whole Jalen Hurts thing is just crazy. Everybody who's arguing about it on Twitter, is he an Oklahoma quarterback? Was he an Alabama quarterback? Didn't he help Alabama win 3 SEC championships, or 2 SEC championships? I mean, I think a lot of Alabama fans have a right to claim him. He was at Oklahoma for 1 year, and of course, Oklahoma fans want him to be, just an Oklahoma guy, but he's an Alabama guy too. Alabama fans celebrate him. He celebrates Alabama. I mean, this is what, if you want to know the truth, is he an Alabama or is he an Oklahoma guy? Just don't ask a fan, don't ask a reporter, ask Jaylen.
Right.
So that's all that matters, and he's probably going to tell you both. So why can't both just celebrate him? I mean, that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see what Jalen's been able to do. Awesome to see Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson. Saw he got hurt a little bit with his arm the other day. I guess I didn't see what the result was, but hopefully he's going to be okay for the Super Bowl. And then Josh Joe also, with the Eagles. Hate it for D'Amico, but also at the same time, bittersweet for him because he's going to get a head coaching job. D'Amico is one of the guys that I interviewed in my book a few years ago. I had a chance to talk to him about his life growing up, his recruitment, how everything kind of fell into place for him as far as going to Alabama. D'Amico received an offer from Alabama 3 weeks before signing day, which was wild for me to hear. But once that offer kind of came through,
where was he going to go?
I'd have to look back. I mean, he didn't have it. I mean, he had some SEC offers, but it wasn't a ton of SEC
Right.
offers.
Wow.
These big name recruits, but what
We
a
didn't steal him from Auburn's what you're saying.
That's right. No, I don't think so. But, he told me, he said one of his fondest memories was intercepting John Parker Wilson when John Parker was like I think he was maybe a sophomore at Hoover High School. They played him through they played each other in the playoffs. It was, I think maybe it was the first or second round. I can't remember, but intercepted John Parker in the playoffs. He loved that, but yeah, I mean, obviously his career was pretty special as a player in high school, college, and the NFL. Been an unbelievable position coach, defensive coordinator. Now he's going to have an opportunity to be a head coach. So really excited to see what he's able to do, and if he's able to bring some more Alabama guys to the to his future team.
Yep, and who knows? Maybe that's a quarterback. Maybe that's Bryce Young, right? We'll be keeping up with that right here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel as things progress. All right, Bone, look, before we wrap it up, anything else that you want to add?
No, I mean, we pretty much hit it all. I mean, kind of went over junior day, talked about, some of these new offers and, obviously, things that are going on, with this recruiting, with this 2023 cycle and how it's kind of come to a close. Like I said, kind of full focus on 2024. We're going to start posting some breakdowns by position, kind of a look at key targets. We'll do it in an in-state list. Who are the priority in-state guys right now? Not just the guys who've been offered, but the guys they're really pushing for it. They would really like to add in this 2024 cycle. But it's kind of full speed ahead. We've got got a lot going on BamaInsider.com, so certainly encourage you to go on there, subscribe, talk to us. A lot going on with with coordinator searches, so we'll be staying on top of that. I know Clint Lamb and Jimmy do a good job of providing all the details, and we're just enjoying it and seeing what's going to happen next.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for hanging out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. All the comments in the comments section. Roll Tide to all you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. And give us a follow. Bone is Andrew J. Bone on Twitter. I'm at Broadcaster Mick. Appreciate you guys doing that as well. And don't forget, BamaInsider.com. Right now, you can make the switch. Join us as we change the face of team coverage here. Part of On 3. Bone's got the sweatshirt. I got the hat. And you guys can be part of that as well. $29.99 for right now, all the way until August 31st. Or $9.99 a month. But go check it out. It's all the recruiting. It's the message board. It's anything Alabama, and we got you covered there as well as here. So thanks for hanging out. Special thanks, Chris Daughtry, our man behind the scenes, and for Kyle Henderson, who puts everything together. Andrew Bone, I'm Mick Gillespie. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll do it again real soon, and hopefully some more good news coming. Feels like every day I turn around, something else really good's happening for the Crimson Tide, and that includes this next recruiting class, which right now sits at number 1. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and Roll Tide.